Welcome back to another episode of TASH'S Court. Your host Tash, and today's guest we've got Joe, Mr. Twitter. I actually call him because you always know when Joe is on Twitter, he's either watching a game, he's up. But yeah, Joe's here to obviously talk about basketball with me today. So Joe, introduce yourself.
Obviously, you might know me already. Joe MBT on all my socials, you get me. And as Tash said, I'm up any hour of the day talking some form of sports. And you know me, I love some NBA. I was actually watching some NBA, waiting for the F1 last night as well. So I was up all night. You get me? But obviously, come to join Tash's court. You get me? Let's go.
Yeah, Joe, it's great to have you on the show. This obviously is my second episode, so I'm getting there. There.
Trust me, the more the merrier. Let's go.
Yeah. But yeah, I just want to first talk about, obviously it's been the headlines throughout, ESPN, TNT, LeBron and the conflict with Stephen A. Smith.
Yep.
Obviously, me and you had some sort of conversation on Twitter about this. You were kind of on Stephen A's side.
No.
Do you want me to read the tweet?
Go on then, because maybe
I'll read the tweet and what you said, because
maybe I was being a bit balanced to his initial response when it was on First Take. Maybe that one, because that's when he was doing the humble thing. If it's after that, trust, but go on. I don't mind.
So you said, and I quote, "Only thing I agree with Stephen A on is when 2 years ago LeBron said Bronny is better than some NBA players when he wasn't in the league. At that point, LeBron opened up to criticism. I think that was when Bronny went into cardiac arrest a few months later."
Yeah.
So what's your thought on what you said?
I still talking about that. Obviously, when LeBron, I'm pro LeBron, you get me? That's my favorite athlete, not in the world ever. And that covers all sports, and football's obviously, football here is my number one sport, but LeBron as an athlete is the apex for me, And it was kind of evident. LeBron deleted his tweet when it was about 2 years ago, actually. I think it was 2 years ago in March. When he obviously said Bronny was better than a couple NBA players or whatever. And that's when Bronny hadn't even played college basketball. And as a dad, you're going to gas your son up in it, regardless of whatever sport they're in, etc., blah, blah, blah. But then the flip side and the fine line is that you've got aspirations and he's got aspirations to play in the NBA. So that criticism, the talking heads are naturally going to speak about it. So I didn't have a problem with it then. And I think LeBron realized from that moment when he deleted his tweet, he's like, oh shit, I could receive some backlash, blah, blah, blah. Not that he probably cares or anything, but just putting
from a dad perspective, not a LeBron head. He's talking from a dad perspective.
Exactly. So, and then LeBron, the player, probably thought, oh yeah, that's going to make him an open target, or obviously he'll prep him as much as he can. And then was it the summer of that year, so 4 or 5 months later, that's when Bronny had his cardiac arrest.
Yeah.
And that probably changed the tide in how LeBron may have wanted Bronny to be spoken about. But at the same time, moving fast forward, once he got drafted, it's like, they can literally come at him at different angles in terms of the actual basketball itself, innit? So, like I said in my tweet, I still stand by that tweet. That's the only thing I get from Stephen A or any critiques point of view. But everything else, I thought this story was gonna die. This has kept going on, and I've just been listening to different takes over the last couple of days, etc.
It's getting dry now. It's getting dry now, and obviously Stephen A is on, he's on
his own.
He's on every show talking about it. Obviously, he said he didn't want to talk about it, but obviously he came on and he's like, oh, I have to talk about it because it went viral. But I was kind of surprised that LeBron actually went up to him, because LeBron takes, or has been spoken about, for many years, since he's been in the NBA. And yes, it is Bronny, it's his son, but I was really surprised to see that interaction, because obviously them two don't talk. They don't. I don't even think they like each other, but I think on a business kind of like level, or whatever you want to call it, like, they don't have any sort of interactions with each other at all. So it was quite surprising to see like LeBron go up to him and say, like, keep my son's name out your mouth, or whatever he said. It was gone.
Now I think from LeBron responding, that was the shock, because obviously LeBron's been in the league 22 years, and he hasn't. He's rarely responded. Like, when people say LeBron's soft, I'm like,
no,
not even to glaze him or to be a super fan. I'm like, it's the actual opposite. LeBron's taken the most like form of positive or negative, the most media takes everything throughout his whole career. And man hasn't said a word for like 20 plus years straight. And the one he did say a word on is not his basketball related play. It's literally about his son or his fatherhood, which Stephen A, like, he actually admitted, he was like, I was speaking about, because he said it on a couple episodes on First Take, he'll be like, LeBron, I'm speaking to you as a father, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Oh, LeBron the father. And she's like, bro, like,
how can you do this to your son?
Yeah, like, yeah. When he said that, I'm like, huh? Bro, man's created history of getting his son drafted while he's obviously getting, but like, Bronny's got the ability as well. It's still yet to be seen on the NBA level, but he's created history and he's part of history. Of course, bro. I'm gonna push that nepotism as far as I can. You get me? Whilst I got all the power. And the thing is, all the talking heads, everyone actually understands it. But I feel like those that don't like LeBron want to dig into it more. And those that do or don't, you can still like pick some things out of it or critique it to an extent. But I'm like, bruh, it's like, so when LeBron done that, I was like, yeah, this is it. And I was watching.
Yeah, Twitter was on fire that night.
Yeah, it was amazing, man. It was amazing. Like, the things the talking heads say in terms of, especially the ones that love, like, obviously MJ is going to get brought up, but the old basketball players, etc. For a fact, this is how ridiculous it sounds, but this is things that they've said. If Michael Jordan did that to a reporter that he had beef with, or Charles Oakley, because he was known as the tough guy or whatever in their era, bro, they would still be glazing and talking about that to this day.
Yeah.
But it's because it's Stephen A. Like, LeBron and Stephen A are the top of their chains. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, bro. And the thing is, Stephen A has somewhat mocked the fact that LeBron's got his people to reach out to him. He said it on many times on First Take and told them, yo, chill, talking about like Bronny or things like in that relation. Like, I don't think LeBron's ever got at anyone that spoke about his own actual basketball play. So the fact that Stephen A's said it on multiple occasions, and it's like, bro, I was listening to 7 p.m. in Brooklyn. D-Wade said that LeBron spotted Stephen A as soon as he came courtside.
And then got Marquise Morris to come and, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like
bodyguard or whatever.
he said he spotted him before the game, innit?
That's
so when he said he was watching things back, he said he knew it made sense. Like at one point during the game, LeBron was going to approach him, and he did it whilst they were losing, and then they made a comeback and they won, innit? So if an old basketball player did that, we'd be hearing, oh shit, they on their shit. That's that legendary stuff. But yeah.
But do you know what? Like, I rate LeBron for doing it anyways, because I get, like, he's a dad. He's also the best player, one of the best players in the NBA, and he's LeBron James. Do you know what I mean? But like I said, I didn't expect him to do it, but I understand the fact that he had to do it.
Yeah, definitely.
Because Stephen A has been coming at Bronny from like day one, from since he was like drafted 55 pick in the league, criticizing like obviously LeBron as a dad, criticizing Bronny's game. Obviously, Bronny's not playing. You know, he's not been playing many games, and he's been playing in the G League as well.
Yeah, but he's been hooping in the G League.
Just constant digs every time. So I completely understand it. On
Yeah,
all
no,
levels.
like, don't get me wrong. I'm not gonna like fully blame Stephen A. Like, especially from a basketball perspective. If he's talking basketball, like again, majority of the time I've got no issue. But you're not talking about like the top 3 picks the way you talk about Bronny. Do you know what I mean? And I remember I came home from work one day. I fully remember. I can't remember what I was doing exactly, but I was in the kitchen and I just put on First Take that day. And it was after, I believe, the Lakers played the Sixers, and the Lakers had a lot of absentees. And obviously, leading up to that game, Bronny had a great week in the G League. I think he was G League Player of the Week or something like that. So forget Bronny. Any player in the G League that gets called up to their senior team, to the NBA team, it's natural progression when they've got absentees for you to be in the squad or somewhat get minutes, whether that be heavy minutes or low minutes, etc. Like the Lakers had absentees, and Stephen A did a segment on Bronny's whatever 10, 15 minutes or whatever, and I'm like, brother, like fair enough, they lost the game, and JJ Redick said it was like a bad time for Bronny to come in, but it was just natural progression from him being the G League Player of the Week or whatever, or having a great week, to getting minutes when there's absentees. Like it happens to every single team, no matter what pick that player is. So it's just like, that's where I felt Stephen A was starting to cross the line a bit more, innit? And it just led on to the I'm speaking to you as a father and all that shit. So it's like,
but you know what it is? Like I was having a think the other day about like the NBA in itself and the analysts that that they have on TV, you know, and the difference between Stephen A. Smith, obviously ESPN, First Take, and then you've got TNT, Charles Barkley, Shaq, Ernie, and is it Kenny Smith? Yeah. And you can see, I don't know about you, but I can see the difference in terms of how they talk about the game. Like, for me personally, Stephen A is more about entertainment.
Yeah.
You know, he only talks about a certain player, a certain team, because obviously that will gravitate the viewers to watch, you know, the show. On the other hand, Shaq and the rest, they just bust jokes between themselves. They don't even critique the game. They don't even know the players on the teams. They don't even know names of coaches, no nothing. And I'm just thinking, like, what is actually going on in terms of, like, how can I say it? In terms of, like, how they're analysing the game. Like, no one's analysing the game like how they used to. So that's where we go into podcasts like Gilbert Arenas or Carmelo, or just to understand like what's happening in the game. And these you know, stars, or what if you want to call them, they're on TV.
Yeah.
And it's just like, why is it going downhill?
I mean, on a couple of those points, like, because me and Jacob briefly spoke about this before we were recording the other day. Just as an example, when Skip and Stephen A's show come out on Skip, like we both said, we watched it immediately, and I enjoyed it because one, they rarely spoke about LeBron, and like they spoke about like their journalistic background, how they met, all that kind of stuff. And I've always said, like, both Skip, Stephen A, when they speak actual proper basketball, they're actually really so good to listen to. Like when Stephen A goes into his basketball bag, I'm like, I understand why this man has got to where he is, innit?
Yeah.
You get me? Like, he's very good at his job. Well, he's the best in that field. And I just think over time, and for me, it's not a critique because I feel like it's just natural once you get to that kind of level.
Yeah.
You have to keep the entertainment factor up.
Yeah.
And that's what these shows kind of are. So like that, I don't really see into it as much in terms of I don't like it as well, because obviously I'll still watch it. I'm a consumer of it.
Yeah.
And he openly admit the bosses want us to speak about this. He even said it, even regarding the LeBron thing as well. Like,
He
yo,
didn't want to talk about
you
it.
got to speak about that.
Mm.
And it's not just First Take. All the other shows that are similar, once LeBron does something, generally the Lakers, in NFL
Yeah.
terms, the Cowboys, their owner Jerry Jones, those are the more or less the A block segments, or it will be spoken about. So I can't even critique Stephen A for that one, because it happens literally across
Everywhere. Yeah.
all board on those shows. On Inside the NBA now, I don't really watch them as much like the way I used to back in the day.
Yeah.
Because I don't feel like you said, it's more of a banter thing, which actually, like,
All heads. All heads talking amongst each other.
it's just uncles just bantering and just arguing, which they stick to, and that's the good part. But in terms of like the actual
game,
basketball, like you said, they don't really go in depth of it. Like, that's why I don't compare it to those First Take kind of shows, because Inside the NBA is a preview show of the game. So, and they play a part in it, because Charles Barkley was complaining about saying all these shows talk about just the Lakers, blah blah blah, the same topics. I'm like, brother, when the Lakers are bad, you're the one that's first to grill them.
I mean, any team that's bad, any player that's bad, he is slating them to the team.
Happily, yeah, but the Lakers especially, he'll happily jump on them when they're bad. And when they've been good, he's got annoyed that they've been a story every other day. Yeah. And I'm like, I understand why they've been a story, because the biggest trade in NBA history has happened that no one's expected. Do you know what I mean? A player in their prime. So, and the team were doing well in that stint. So it's just like, I don't go to Inside the NBA for actual basketball insight as much. Shaq even said the other day, they were talking about the Pistons. He's like, he said the coach's name wrong, and he goes, do you know what? I don't even watch the Pistons. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, bro, so what's the point? Like, but I definitely agree. Like, the other teams should be spoken about more. They're starting to do it since Charles Barkley's little rant. But
don't you not think like? Sorry to cut you off. Don't you not feel like the NBA drama sells a lot more these days than actually critiquing the game though?
Oh, 100%.
Like, if anything like happens with KD, obviously the Bronny situation, like, it's like on every channel, every hour, they're talking about it constantly, and it's like, well, what about the Cavs? What about Donovan Mitchell? What about obviously the Boston Celtics? But like, do you know what I mean? Like, what about players or teams that are actually playing good? We don't want to hear. I'm not saying like we don't want to hear nothing about like the Suns, but the Suns have been on TV for nearly 3 weeks now, and it's always drama filled about KD, the coach, the owner, and it's like, let's move on now. Like, we know that they're not going to be in the playoffs. Like, let's talk about something else now.
I mean, again, money talks, and the big names sell. And in terms of, like, say, KD, Steph, LeBron, I'll understand why, at this very moment, why they'll rinse using their names, because they've not got a long left to play. And that's kind of started from the Olympics, them all reaching out to each other to link up to play one last ride. Then the Netflix series that recently came out, Court of Gold, you're kind of getting to, I actually understand, and it's shown in viewership. Before the Luka trade, Steph LeBron gate matchups are the biggest watched games of the season.
Crazy.
No matter how bad those teams were. And then even if LeBron KD matchup, that's going to be very good viewership as well. So, and I know you, but you don't like when players get critiqued too much. So I know that's kind of your thing. But on the flip side of that, it comes with the territory. I don't feel sorry for them in terms of that aspect. One, you get paid.
But it's a bunch of narratives though. We don't know, and this is why, like, you know, the fans on Twitter, they come up with these crazy like narratives, and I'm thinking, do you actually think that could actually happen?
Give me an example then, or
just like I'm trying to think. To say for instance, the whole KD and the coach they had like a disagreement where he kind of like flickered. I don't know if you've seen it. He
Was
flickered.
it with Budenhauser?
Yeah, so Katie, they were talking and Katie kind of like flicked his hand,
Yeah.
like, don't touch me type stuff. Obviously, them type of things happen between a coach.
Yeah.
Last night with Tibbs and Josh Hart, like they got into like players will get into arguments with the coaches. It happens. It's a competitive sport. Like fans just need to get over it. And there's just too many narratives around the game, and it's just irritating.
Obviously, in terms of stuff like that, I genuinely, when fans talk about that, to me, that's little nitty gritty stuff. Because even Chris Broussard said it the other day on First Things First. He literally spoke about that exact moment, KD Budenhauser. He's like, so it happens. And I was like, that's literally it. For me, so it happens and we move on. When coaches beat players, it happens. Like, unless there's going to be a mad fallout, a mad breakout, etc. Even when Jimmy Butler and Eric Spoelstra had their madness.
That was a crazy though.
That was only mad, seemed bigger than it was. Well, looking back hindsight, now he's been traded, but it didn't seem personal between them. But because of the Heat culture, do you know what I mean? No one does this to the Miami Heat, blah, 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 all that just. But in the moment, like, bro, it happens. Like, top star players, coaches, they'll figure it out. Like, not everyone's going to be, let's give each other a pat on the back, all that. Nah, reality, especially in the heat of the moment. And then I'm sure KD and Coach Budenhauser, after the game, they're probably just like, yeah, I understood, blah, blah, blah. And that's it. Like, we don't, sometimes we're privy to too much information at the same time as viewers, as fans. So, like, we must always react to something. And I'm like, bro, no, life happens. And life happens in sport as well, where we don't have to talk about everything.
Yeah. But even like with the Suns, I'm going to go back to the Suns though, because obviously KD's on the
bias,
Suns. You know, this is the KD, you know. But like the whole KD like trade, they keep talking about KD getting traded. Obviously, I keep talking about KD getting traded because obviously it's gonna happen.
I was about to say, I've seen a couple of tweets from you.
Yeah, I mean, it is gonna happen. It is gonna happen. He's not gonna stay there. Like, you know, it's. But the fact that like they keep saying like KD's not happy there. KD is bringing the team down. KD, they don't get along. They're arguing in the locker room. Like it's just everyday, like little jabs at my boy. Like
again, that's where I'd say even when I'll be say protected of LeBron, like I know him. The same way you do the same with KD. And the difference is obviously KD actually interacts back with people on Twitter and stuff like that. And the media heads hate that for some reason. They'll be like, why is he talking back to a nobody?
Sensitive.
Like, just because you're on TV doesn't mean you're somebody and then us lot on Twitter, for instance, were nobodies. Like, KD's actually giving back by having conversations with people who actually... Sometimes someone will ask him a question on something, on a specific play or how he sees the game in a certain way, and he'll come back and answer. And then if someone claps back at him, he'll clap back the same way. Like he clapped back at Skip, like the way he clapped back at a normal person. When he said Skip, we're both washed, he'd say that to a fan who'll be like, you're not a god like me. And I'm like, say talk your shit, innit? Like, so KD's great in the sense that he actually gives something back. And sometimes...
I wish our players did that, though. Because people be talking mad, though. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, facts. But obviously, social media, innit? So everyone's got access to somewhat say something. And like, it's just how you navigate it. Like, this generation of players, some of them, they're the ones that get called soft or whatever, but they're the ones that are actually living in the moment. Whereas previous generations, their form of criticism was either just seeing it on the news once a week or reading the newspaper. And the days when the games were taped, it's not going to be instant criticism. These lot can literally, they check their phones.
They touch it,
Bro, they check their phones at half times. Like obviously you'll be advised to, stay off socials, but it doesn't work like that. Some people actually just want to live a normalish life as much as they can. And that might be his outlet of just scrolling Twitter. Oh, what's people saying? Blah, blah, blah. By default, he's going to have 100,000 acts maybe that day. Like, all right, cool. If I'm bored in a hotel room, they're not robots. Like,
Yeah, they are people.
And obviously, in terms of him moving, I think that's more so because it's very realistic. The Suns are stuck. Him or Booker needs to go. So I get why, like, there's possible teams out there for him, etc. I don't think it's been negative in that aspect.
No, because he's always going to be on a 2-year contract. He's
He's what, 36 now, ain't he?
He's 36. He's going to be 37. But do you know what I mean? Like, everywhere he goes, he will have a 2-year contract, basically. So unfortunately, that's comes with age, I guess.
Yeah.
What team do you think that he'll go on?
Oh, that's. There's been talks of, like, say, the Mavs. But it's whether what, because that'll be pairing. Obviously, Kyrie's out for a while, which is sad. But that would have paired Kyrie, Clay, KD, and AD.
Yeah, but they have to give him something, though. Do you know what I mean?
Because he's not a free agent this summer, ain't he? It'll be a trade.
Yeah.
So there's also been talks OKC. I think that depends on how they do this postseason.
Yeah, definitely. Do you know, I actually heard Boston, you know. Someone keeps saying...
For who, though?
Kind of close to him, keep saying Boston, and I'm like, absolutely not. That's the worst thing you can ever do.
Well, I mean, he'll more likely win. I don't know.
It's more than weird. Why would you go there?
No, I understand why he would go there, but, like,
I
don't see them doing it. Now, especially them, because who are you gonna actually trade? Like,
exactly, and they've got a really good bunch.
Yeah.
You know? And so why would you want to bring that up?
Unless he wants to call it a day and end it at the Wizards.
Nah, he's never doing that.
And that the Wizards.
Did you not watch the doc?
Huh?
Did you not watch the doc?
What one?
Cart of Gold.
I've seen most of it. I think I've got the final episode left.
Yeah, like when he was the part where he was quite emotional about the game.
Yeah, that was that at the beginning.
Was saying, like, he therefore will have a hard time, like, leaving basketball. Certain.
Yeah. But, like, again, as a viewer, that shit was so good to see. It was so real, innit? It's authentic, bro. And KD's generally like that. He's not robotic with stuff. Even when he's replying post-game, like, pre-game, during the games, like, KD's a very good person to listen to and to actually read or, like, so, we'll see where KD goes. But, you were talking about Cavs, OKC earlier, all those teams. If you want to touch up on them, that's fine.
Yeah, because I wanted to touch up on the playoffs, actually. Like, obviously, we're probably, like, 10 games. 10 games, I think.
I'm looking now. For instance, the Thunder have played 67 after last night's win, so they got 17. The Lakers played 65.
17. Yeah.
Because it'll be mid-April, so there's another month left of the NBA, basically.
Yeah, that's true. But like, just kind of like looking at the playoff picture now, and we see no Suns. Not even in the play-in.
Yeah, they're 11th seed right now. I think they'll get the 10th seed. I don't see the Mavs winning.
Yeah, the Mavs, oh my gosh. They might need to forfeit some games, you know.
Yeah, speak for them.
Right, but yeah, it's mad. Like, every player is injured.
I mean, sorry. You saying that is clicked into my mind. It's legit that they might have to forfeit games. That is crazy. Because Dante Exum broke his hand or something like that. Yeah, that's mad. That is. I don't think I've ever seen that.
Yeah, I've never seen that ever. So I don't know how that's gonna happen. Nico Harris must be he must be having sleepless nights.
That guy, Nico Harrison, shout at him for making such a decision.
Where were you? Where were you when you heard that? Because I don't think I actually spoke to you about it. But where were you when you saw that Laker trade?
No, remember we done the episode, me and Jacob. Yeah, and I was hungover as hell.
Oh, I can't remember. Yeah,
That was the.
I can't
You
remember.
didn't woke me up, and I was like, and remember we were about to start, and I was like, hold on, and then I ran upstairs, and I came back, and I was like, okay, cool, let's start. We spoke, Luca. Yeah, that was.
It's still kind of mad seeing him in a purple jersey, you know, mad.
Yeah, it's
jersey.
Mad. It's very mad, but we'll
he's
see.
been balling though.
Yeah, he started to now. Yeah, he doesn't need to cut down on the turnovers.
He's getting over his shock.
Yeah. Oh boy, he has to now, boy. Gotta wake up and smell the coffee, bruv.
Yeah.
Especially if you want to play with LeBron, we don't know how long he's got left, even though he's still playing at a supreme level. So,
do you think LeBron's injured though? Like seriously?
I don't think it's serious because they already said he should be back. I think it's game time from now decision, more or less, because they sent him and a few other players back to LA. So I think from that report, the talk was like they were sent back to LA because they're getting ready to come back short term. So
yeah,
and obviously Bryce had his state championship game the other day, innit? So
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is he injured? Is he really?
No, but yeah, it's true. But that's the thing.
Timing, LeBron, good timing.
He done that. I don't know if it was the same groin, but he done his groin against the Celtics. Was it the Celtics or Warriors? Yeah, like his first or his second year in the Lakers or something like that. And then he was out for a long. And then they said this one will be 1 to 2 weeks. So
yeah,
his body just might need a break, bro. The guy's 40 and he was playing. He was playing a month.
yeah.
So,
but like.
It might come at the perfect time for him to refresh, but yeah.
Yeah, but just like looking at the West briefly, obviously OKC number 1, then we've got Houston Rockets.
Yeah, because the Nuggets.
Nuggets. Yeah, the Nuggets. Do you know what it is? Like the bottom to me are the tougher teams. No disrespect to OKC and the Houston Rockets, but the tougher teams are Lakers. Well, obviously not like.
What? Hold on, you don't think OKC is as tough as anyone else?
I am not saying that they're not. Okay, I'm talking based off experience. They've been them teams that I'm talking about: Nuggets, Lakers, and who else?
The Warriors.
Let's talk. Yeah.
Yeah,
then,
but go on. But you're sounding like the people that you complain about. You get me? Talk about the main teams. Or the OKC are crazy threat now. And I feel like last year's playoff, they're still young, but last year's playoff experience, all right, cool. And then we spoke about the beginning of the season. They brought in some pieces. Caruso, he hasn't played too much, but his experience is there. He's coming off the bench. And then Hartenstein. And now Chet's back from injury. Chet's playing the 4. It's like, bro, the other night they go to Boston and they win without their second best player, Jalen Williams. Like, SGA got 48 last night. I'm like, bro.
They're balling. Like, I know they are balling.
I can't take them lightly.
MVP, but I'm just saying, like, come playoff time, let's see what you can do.
He's not going to get all the free throw calls that he gets in the regular season, so that's one big adjustment for him. But, like, they're a mad. Don't get me wrong, again, playoff series is different, so the team can actually focus on you over the span of a 7-game series. But I think Stephen A said the other day, the Thunder are leading in every single defensive category there is. And they're
a good team. And
then when they do shoot the free well, bro, they've got shooters that are not SGA. Yeah. I'm there. I cannot categorize them with that. They have to be there with the Lakers, the Nuggets, the Lakers, and the Warriors. Those 4. Yeah. And then the Rockets and the Grizz, I'd say they're just below, even though they might get higher seeding than everyone. Yeah. And then you can't sleep on, obviously, the Timberwolves. They've got that experience of getting to the conference final last year.
Sleep on Steph either. Can't sleep on Steph either. The Warriors.
No. I've said the Warriors are the Warriors are top 4 now. They're not a joke, bruv. I was watching
14-2. They're
watching the first half of their game last night against the Knicks, and I'm like, bro, like, yeah, it's long.
Defense is crazy.
Yeah. Jimmy Buckets is reinvigorated.
And you know, Jimmy come playoff time.
Yeah,
that man goes crazy. So,
it's mad though, because apparently Steph shot more. He's shot less since Jimmy's arrived, but he's more efficient.
Yeah,
and he's got time to actually the non-Steph minutes. That's when Jimmy can just control the floor. Last night, Jimmy hit a buzzer beater from near half court to end the first quarter, and I was like, shit, this is scary, because Jimmy can't really shoot the free great. But if he's doing that and everyone's happy at the Warriors, I'm like, boy, yeah, it's big still.
Yeah,
but again, it just goes to seeding, innit? Because the seeding's going to matter in the West a lot. So
yeah. So what about the East? Obviously, we've got Cavs. Cavs are just...
They're just quietly going about their business. I think 16 straight wins. So like, all right, cool. Whoever's next will dispatch. Was it 25-3? They were down against Boston.
Yeah, came back.
Jason Tatum was doing this, and then they came back. So
they came back. Like I keep saying to people, obviously Donovan Mitchell is obviously my guy too. Like,
yeah, we know that one.
But like, I want to see him prove himself in the playoffs. Like, he's never gone past the second round.
Yeah.
And
just the second.
I think now he needs to prove himself that he is that guy.
Right.
You know, obviously the Cavs right now is balling, but Boston is that team that is a threat in the East.
The Celtics are still the favorite.
Yeah.
Even the favorite to win the championship. But again, the Cavs are kind of a bit similar to OKC, where in the sense that obviously they're both flying. The Cavs, I would have said, the pressure's on them more, because they've like Donovan's got to. He's been the 1 seed already. He's had like these moments. He's not getting past the second round. But then the flip side is OKC are now the pressure's equal, because SGA is front running for MVP. So now both 1 seeds have to, their expectations has to be at least the conference finals.
Yeah.
Like, at least. And if they matched up in the NBA finals, I think that would be, it's not great market-wise, but it'll be absolutely fantastic viewership.
Yeah, it will be.
We're just going to get pure basketball. Like, we're not going to get none of this, the big names stealing the show. Which happens, again, can't complain. It happens by default. But if those two match up in the NBA finals, bruh, I'll be losing sleep. I'll be losing sleep for that one. So, but yeah, now the Cavs, they're a serious team, and they've just, the thing that's good with them, obviously Donovan's their best player, but it's more team-based.
Yeah, team-based.
Evan Mobley's been stepping up. Apparently, he was voted the second best player to start the next franchise with or something, which was interesting. But Mobley's game has just gone better. Darius Garland, I had my concerns with him and Donovan at the beginning of the season. Remember, I said before the season started, I was like, the Cavs, I didn't think they were going to do, because of the little talks between them two.
Yeah.
And everyone's locked in. So for them, again, last year in the playoffs, I can't get at them too much, because Jarrett Allen and who else? Someone else was injured in the postseason. It might have been Mobley. I can't remember.
No, I know Jarrett Allen was, because he was.
I feel like they were missing another starter during the playoffs. So the Cavs, they're.
And I think Donovan Mitchell missed a few games as well.
Yeah, it might have been D-Mitch. So let's go Cavs. You get me? I'm fun. I think there's some questions in the chat if you want.
Yeah, so let's
Unless
go.
You had more.
Yeah, no. So should the NBA expand to more cities, and if so, where? I think for me, I would say.
I know what you're gonna say. I'm not gonna say nothing.
I was gonna say bringing a team back to Seattle.
I knew you were gonna say that. I knew, because that was my answer, and that was only my answer because of Kevin Durant. He literally.
And that jersey's sick, you know.
Yeah, the Sonic
jersey's actually sick.
Yeah. I'm trying to think what the what other cities in the NBA there's probably lacking?
I mean, I think someone else would probably say like Las Vegas.
Because
Because it gives obviously city vibes, party vibes, that
and
type of feel.
they've got the WNBA team, and
Yeah,
obviously they've got the NFL team,
yeah.
and F1's gone. That is not a bad shout.
Mm-hmm.
That is not a bad shout at all. Oh, I don't mind that. I don't
Yeah.
mind that.
I think those are the two cities that I can see. I mean, anywhere else in the States, I probably don't know, but those are the two cities I think I would go for, me personally.
Do you think on that, just to expand on that question, do you think there should be more international games?
Yes.
International regular season games, I should say.
International regular season games. Like I would say a more in like England. Like
it's coming back to Manchester apparently.
Yeah, it's coming back to Manchester, but like, you know, instead of the one-off game that they do, just like five or like a whole week of games, or how many games that they can fit in, either like, you know, 3 or 4, how many, in what games?
No, I'm just to expand on that. I think they're actually planning that because this year's Paris games was the first time they did back-to-back games. So was it the Pacers and
I remember.
I genuinely can't remember, but they played each other twice, and I was like, oh, and obviously it was during Paris Fashion Week.
Spurs, was it the Spurs? Because of Wembley.
Yeah, Wembley, yeah. Which makes sense from a marketing perspective.
Yeah.
Wembley went off the first night, then I think Pacers came back. So I think like that showed that the plans are there, and then obviously the talks of it coming to Manchester. I think what you just said would be great if they did like a week of just say Paris, London, and maybe Madrid or Barcelona or something like that.
That'd be sick.
They can then interconnect or whatever, because the NFL are doing it as well. So yeah, no, that'll be good on that.
People watch basketball in England, like, because obviously, in Europe. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So, and they've got a lot of international players as well. So
no, definitely. Well, the international players they're the best players in the league. So
best players in the league, that's for sure. Another one is, which is the biggest disappointment this season? Which team, sorry, is the biggest disappointment this season?
I think I had the Kings in my top 5 at the beginning of the season. So I'd probably go with them, because obviously I didn't expect them to
tank.
Trade the Aaron Fox. Obviously they did that in season. I felt they had a bit of a disappointing season last year from how they done the year before. And I was like, all right, they could do something a bit, them getting DeRozan. So I'd say, I'm just looking now, the Kings in the West and maybe the Magic in the East. I think
the injuries.
That's weird. It's weird though, because when Banchero was injured, they had a winning record, and then when he came back, or their overall record with him hasn't been like, it's been below 500. And we both said we thought Caldwell Pope trade would be good for them. I haven't even really seen his name. Has he been injured? So yeah, I'd say the Kings in the West, and then the Magic in the East, looking at the standings. What about for yourself?
Yeah, Kings. I mean, obviously, Suns will always disappoint me.
Nah, I hear that one. I hear it.
Do you know what I mean? That's for me. KD's on your team. Like, you should be the best of the best, but he's clearly not working.
Him and Booker, I'm sure they're both averaging near 27 or something like that.
Exactly.
Or over 25 at least. So.
Disappointing. Oh, yeah. To be honest, I mean, I kind of expected the Hawks to do like something in, come like trade deadline in terms of Trae Young. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like they're not. Yeah, I feel like they're not doing nothing to bring back a winning culture.
To
Like
maximize
2 years ago, Atlanta was, it was the Knicks against Trae Young. Like,
yeah.
now they've just fell off. Like,
They've just gone stale, if
yeah,
anything. Right now, they're the seventh seed.
yeah, the seventh
So,
seed.
yeah, and they're not gonna. So they'll be in a playoff play-in spot, I should say. They're not gonna get.
And just to add,
Pistons.
just
Shout out
to,
the Pistons, man.
yeah, I was just about to say, like, who's your biggest surprise team this season? I think for me, the Pistons, most definitely. 100%. Like that team has literally turned around.
Cade.
Yeah.
And you know what I love about what Cade's doing? He's living up to being the number one draft pick. Do you know what I mean? Like, and it just, again, shows, which has been good the last couple of years. That's one thing I'll give the NBA media. They don't put as much pressure on the number one draft picks if the hype's not crazy compared to, obviously, you don't really watch NFL, but compared to NFL, like, it's instant, which I get in NFL because the games are less and they mean more in that instance. But Cade, bro, from what the Pistons had, was it like a 25-game losing streak last season? Now they're going on win streaks.
Yeah.
They're the bully boys. Get me. I'm like, all right. And Cade's just open, like, deserves being an all-star. Definitely should be an all-NBA player.
They're tough as well. Like, they're not a soft team at all.
Like, shout out coach and stuff. Who's it? JD Bickerstaff, isn't it?
Yeah, Bickerstaff, yeah. He was going off on the refs last night.
Boy. So I'd say, yes, they've been the good surprise. And in the West, do you know what? Maybe out of the Rockets and Grizz. Because obviously, I did expect the Rockets to kind of build on what they did last season. Because they had like a good run towards the end of last season. And then the Grizz, Ja hasn't played too many games and they've just been solid. They've been solid. So, like, but in the playoffs, Ja has to be the man, innit?
Yeah,
obviously, Triple J's been fantastic this year. He'll probably win Defensive Player of the Year now with Wemby being ineligible.
Yeah.
But the Grizz, yeah, man, they're just quietly going about their business. And they've been the one that anytime Ja's done well to stay out the headlines. One, he's partly been injured. Two, he's just kept quiet.
Good.
So, and Ja and Yuki, they got like is it Yuki? I think his name.
Yeah, I know who you mean. Yeah.
They got a very, like, Ja got him takes a what, like Ja's dad and daughter went to watch Yuki's G League game the other day, and I was like, yo, that's sick. And he was saying how Ja's daughter is like his biggest fan and stuff. I was like, yo, that's sick. So yeah, I'd say those.
Where does Jokić rank currently in the all-time rankings?
Nikola Jokić. Can't really do all-time as much. He might be top 5% of all time. And I think by the time he finishes playing, if he gets at least one more chip, then you can't not argue.
Yeah.
Because he's hands down the best player in the National Basketball Association in the world. And they're 12 games on the win column behind the Thunder. That's the only reason why SGA is, as it stands, MVP over Jokić for me, because of the winning team aspect. But I think Jokić is just playing at a crazy, supreme level. He's taking a piss.
Yeah, he is.
Because he's one of the least athletic players in the league from a visual standpoint, but he's also one of the most durable. People don't talk about that enough. Like, Jokić is very durable. He's hardly ever hurt. And I didn't think he could get better last year than what he did last year. Yeah. And he's just statistically been better. And he's shooting like 50-something% from the field. I'm like, brother. Even Giannis is shooting, I think, 60% from the field. Yeah. I'm like, brother. So, yeah, Jokić.
International players might be, the face of it.
Jokić, Jokić, and no other order. Giannis, Luka, SGA. The 4 best players in the NBA are all international players. Yeah. So that's why this face of the league conversation is like, bruh, it's hurting the Americans. Sorry, our American viewers. It's hurting the American media. Yeah. They can't have an American that they're forcing to be the face of the league. But
Yeah.
we'll leave that conversation.
Yeah, we leave that convo.
Oh, Jokić, yeah, I can't rank him specifically, but by the time it's all said and done, he'll be
the
top
best.
5 center.
Best of
He'll
the
be
best.
top 15 NBA player. He might already be in that record. What 3 MVPs? He could arguably win his 4th. If he won it, I wouldn't be pissed. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah, definitely. Is LeBron longevity more impressive than Jordan's peak?
that is a great question.
That is a great question.
That's a great question. Whoever's put that in, that's fantastic. Because it's crazy. I was actually thinking about this last week, and I was like, not physically talking to myself, but I was like Jordan's peak is nuts, but then LeBron's longevity, I don't think we'll ever see anything like this.
Never, ever.
Like, I won't say it's more impressive, but I feel Jordan's peak will be easier for a future player to hit than
I think so
longevity.
too.
Because LeBron's longevity has meant his peak is longer. Do you know what I mean? But Jordan's peak is the apex of not losing the NBA Finals. But again, some would say they were playing against plumbers. Hey, I'm just putting it out there. That's what I heard. I didn't say it, but that's what I heard, didn't it? But yeah, no, I'm joking. So again, like both what they've done, it's hard for anyone else or a future person to come and do that. Like when Wemby has to stay healthy. I'm just using him as an example. He came into the league young. Obviously, he's currently injured now, but Wemby has to stay healthy for a full, say, 18 or 19 seasons when Nick Wright works out what he just said, any player, and then average a certain amount to reach LeBron's points milestone. It's like, bro, it's mad.
So, I don't, like you said, I don't think any future player coming into the league, now in the league, could do what LeBron or Jordan.
Because even on that, the other night, James Harden moved up. I think he moved up on the list of scoring or 3 points. But I was looking at the scoring list, and then I was looking at Kevin Durant, and I was like, Kevin Durant can actually, depending on how long he finishes, he can potentially finish 3rd or 4th of all time. We'll discuss this later, or you'll look it up. And I was just thinking, like, future players, bro, most future players aren't even going to get to Kevin Durant's number. Like, because just for argument's sake, he might be 7th or 8th on the list, but he's going to pass, like, the next 2 or 3 that I saw within, like, the next year or 2, maybe. I might be wrong, but, like, the way I saw it, I was like, KD's going to be maybe 3rd or 4th of all time by the time he calls it a day. And which future player, like, bro... KD's won 4 scoring titles or whatever. Averaging 27 from his sleep. Like, bro, it's nuts. But the flip side is some would say scoring's a bit more easier now and I was thinking about this morning actually because I was listening to...
Do you think that though? I don't think so.
I won't say it's easier, but it's... What's the word? Because the games are higher scored now. Do you know what I mean? So you've got more opportunity. I won't say it's easier, but you've got more opportunity to score more. Because I was thinking about it. I was listening to another segment on Carmelo and D-Wade on 7 p.m. in Brooklyn. And they just briefly mentioned LeBron's averaging now the same that he did in his MVP season. But then D-Wade made a very good point. Like, it wasn't even in regards to LeBron. It was talking about LeBron's best teammates. About playmaking skills. And D-Wade was saying in his time, the lane was basically boxed off. So, like, playmaking was different because you had to be a bit more innovative where you can't just throw the ball in the paint because the paint's naturally blocked up, whereas now it's spread it out, the floor spread it out.
It's a lot of spacing.
Yeah, and that then made me think the spreading out of the floor gives you more opportunities. That helps LeBron score the same as he did in his Miami Heat MVP days.
And Steph too.
Yeah, but LeBron's MVP scoring then in Miami, it meant more, do you know what I mean? Because it wasn't more harder, but you had to think more, like, the floor's not spread it out. So that's why, like, it's amazing what he's doing, averaging the same but I think the scoring aspect is slightly different of how he had to score then compared to how he scores now. Obviously, he's become a better shooter now, all that stuff. And then he was the best defender in the NBA as well. So he was actually maximizing himself on the other end of the floor. Whereas, and like you said, Steph, and again, KD, after KD actually mentioned it recently, I think he said it last week. He said, he didn't say it's easier, but he basically initiated that kind of combo, like scoring back in the day was slightly harder. That's what he said.
Because I was just like looking at the list now, and obviously, this is like all-time
scorers.
Scorers. So LeBron, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Karl Malone, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, Dirk, Will Chamberlain, Kevin Durant.
And how many thousand is KD behind MJ and Kobe? Because I think it was MJ that I thought KD can surpass, and maybe even Kobe.
Probably like 3,000.
Yeah, see?
Yeah, that's easy.
Yeah.
I mean...
yeah. Where he made it look, yes. But I genuinely thought KD could be 4th or 5th, maybe even 3rd, not 3rd, but 4th or 5th by the time he calls it a day.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It's
sick.
We need to appreciate... It's like even James Harden, when I was looking up him on the scoring list and then his 3-pointers and how much he can move up the list by the time he calls it day, I'm like, bro, like Harden was arguably the best scorer in NBA history for a period of time. That Rocket span, his scoring was insane. Like, James Harden changed the game. Bro, like, appreciate these guys, bro. Our current legends, we should appreciate them. Not just the big names, the Hardens. Like, I don't care if these men didn't just win championships as much. That's a separate kind of debate, isn't it? It's like even Carmelo asked D Wade about some advice for MVP. Not MVP, sorry, for his Hall of Fame speech. And D Wade's like, tell a story that no one actually knows about you.
Yeah.
Because throughout most of your career, the media have controlled that narrative.
Yeah.
Which, again, is not a negative, but you tell us something we don't know, bro. And that just made me think. I was like, bro, Carmelo, it's going to be hard for players in the next 20 to 35 years to be the scorer that Carmelo was. You get me? So it's like, bro, I love our current legend of players, the ones that have just about retired or the ones that are in their mid-30s. Because, and the reason why I've got more respect, not more respect, but a lot of respect for them is they actually they've been helping the young G's come through the league as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, it's not none of this hating aspect. It's like, bro, like LeBron's always said back in the day, yo, and to any of the young G's, shout me if you need anything. KD's offered those services.
Yeah.
Steph's got the Aaron Fox under his wing. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So, bro, the current generation of players, I've got a lot of time for them, man. A lot of time for them.
Yeah. But like I keep saying to like everybody, like it's gonna be a sad day when they all start to retire. Yeah. And literally it will be one after the other. And the NBA, it'd be a sad time.
But that's why the face of the league talk, I get to an extent because I feel like the media are scared in the sense like, who's really going to take over if we don't know what to, not what to talk about, but like who to look to. Because even if the young G's right now are the best in the league or the foreign players are the best, the international players are the best players in the league, if they really want to draw viewership, they can literally lead to anything about LeBron, Steph, or KD. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. To try and help enhance something. Or LeBron can just talk about something. KD, like, so I feel like that's when you
think about it now, like,
like
who can I draw the viewership to? Probably Jason Tatum.
Yeah.
And
obviously they're forcing the Ant thing. And I think he wants it, but because he's doing a bit of Higgy in his private life, I don't feel he wants that aspect. And but Tatum just, Tatum on Club 520 podcast, Tatum is very good to listen to. Like, I feel like he doesn't show enough of his personality.
But he doesn't.
He's a very reserved person, but Tatum's got a vibe. He's got a personality about him. So,
But you know what? I do think he has a personality, but he does give me the vibe of like KD, because KD was kind of similar to him when he was that age. So, you know, I guess when he gets kind of like older or whatever, he'd be more kind of like outspoken. But do you know what? Like, people think I have this hate against Jason Tatum, but I actually don't, guys. I do not. I like and respect the guy, okay?
You hate the Celtics. To be fair, I never liked the Celtics beforehand, but I appreciate what they're doing, man.
Oh, yeah.
Fun, and plus, I bought a nice white and green Tatum jersey last summer.
Yeah, we seen it. We're seeing it. But Joe, thank you so much for coming on this episode. Obviously, this is my second episode. I'm still a baby at this, but I'm really grateful for you to come on and, you know, share your expertise about the game. Obviously, we love the game. We watch basketball, you know, every day. You're on Twitter watching basketball. But yeah,
I'm watching everything.
But yeah, thank you so much.
Quick one: the Lakers Suns are playing today.
Oh yeah, Cavs and Magic are playing today. It's a good. I think back-to-back or three teams actually playing today. So I'm definitely tuning in to watch all of them. But yeah, thank you, Joe, for coming.
Of course, I definitely always a pleasure. You get me, Tash's Court. This is what we do. We talk hoops. Me and Tash been talking hoops to each other on the TL for years. So I was like, nah, I got to get Tash on through a different lens. And through a different lens, we made Tash's Court, you get me? So whoever's going to be a guest on Tash's Court, you're going to enjoy this conversation. Tash is doing her thing. Tash knows her basketball. And yeah, happily jump on the train. And I'm excited that I was on this as well. So, I mean, you could see my energy throughout the conversation. So, yeah.
But yeah, always, you know, you're always free to come on the pod whenever. But yeah, always family.
Come on, sis. You know how we play.
Yeah. But yeah, thank you guys.
Get
Bye.
me. Peace.